Okay, so hi everybody. So my name is Sara Prins Hankinson, and I'm the art therapist at BC Cancer, which is right here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And this is my presentation, my first one anyways. This is online art therapy groups for people with cancer. And so in it, I'm going to explore some of the work that I did using art therapy in a chat room with cancer patients. But a little bit more about BC Cancer. Yeah, this is a province of BC where we're located, and it's a very mountainous province, as I showed in the Welcome to Vancouver video. I work primarily out of Vancouver, but I have a provincial position, so I do my best to reach out to the other centers as well and to the other patients throughout British Columbia. So when I first began my position, I was leading art therapy groups for young adults with cancer and also young families. But a large part of my role here has been figuring out ways to reach clients remotely. So that's taken me to exploring how we can use the internet for art therapy services. So I've done some work designing some websites. I've also had some Skype art therapy sessions, and then have been doing this work in the chat room. So most of us are familiar with the benefits of art therapy with cancer patients. There's been a lot of research that has cited some of these benefits. The study that I like to quote is from 2006 by Nanis et al. And that study showed that the act of 1 hour of art making per week with cancer patients was alleviating 8 out of the 9 symptoms that cancer patients were experiencing. I think nausea was the only symptom that it wasn't able to help alleviate. But yeah, there's a whole host of physical benefits as well as emotional benefits. And I definitely see that in the patients here. Their mood improves. They find that being able to cope with some of what they're experiencing a little bit better. They're able to express themselves a little bit more. They say that cancer can be a very left-brained experience where people are always focused on remembering their appointments, remembering statistics, remembering details, analyzing situations, whereas art therapy and being creative is something that takes place on the right side of the brain. So you're accessing a whole new side of your brain when you're doing art therapy. So for a lot of people, this can be a new way of understanding their experience. I've had other clients just tell me that it's a place that they have fun, or that it's something that they can control during a time in their life when everything else is out of control. And yeah, you all know the benefits of using computers to do art therapy. And these are some of the benefits that have been outlined, many of them by Kate Collie, some of them by Barbara Parker Bell. But basically, as you've seen in Kate's videos, using a computer can provide feelings of mastery and control and help people, particularly people with disabilities, to be able to create art a little bit easier. It can also be a great source for collage materials, and it can provide nonverbal communication that might be missing when you're communicating with people from a distance. So I began working here in 2010, and I was introduced to Kate Collie in 2011, who at the time was working at the Cross Cancer Institute in Edmonton. And I was encouraged to collaborate with her and some of the other art therapists who were interested in this work. So Kate really put together a team of us, which included Gretchen Miller, you've seen her earlier, just recently, from the Philly Hive, and also Maddie Mooney, who I believe is tuning in right now as well. So Maddie, she's living in Edmonton right now, or was living in Edmonton, but now I think she divides her time between Vancouver and the Netherlands. So she had a particular interest in using Skype to reach her clients. So during our time together, what we would do is we would experiment with Skype, Google Hangouts, and Cancer Chat Canada, which I'll tell you more about in a little bit. And we also were on a quest to see what tools were already in place that we could use to provide art therapy sessions with our clients. And then using these tools that were already in place, we developed a few different methods of hosting these art therapy sessions online. So whereas a lot of people are using virtual reality and kind of creating, creating technology to use with clients, we were very much taking a low-tech approach, seeing what's already in place, what we can use, and give to our clients in remote locations, or what can be the easiest for our clients to access art therapy. So these are project goals: increasing accessibility, and then we were using a chat room on Cancer Chat, so we wanted to provide an alternative to just texting with people. And then, developing guidelines around using the technology, ultimately creating something that would enhance our patients' quality of life. So here's a bit more of an outline of my project. And I mentioned this introduction work with this core group of art therapists, but from there in 2013, what we did was we began hosting trial sessions with other professionals that had an interest in this field. And so we hosted 3 mock groups during the time of 2013. And then in the fall of 2013 is when we ran our first patient group. And so we've continued to run patient groups since 2013. Although they look a little bit different now because the Cancer Chat Canada platform changed in 2016. So a bit more about Cancer Chat. It's a Canadian website which was created to provide online support for Canadians who are affected by cancer. So most of the people who are on this website are cancer patients, but there are some caregivers as well. It was first created in 2008 and operated out of BC Cancer. And so in 2008, internet was still a lot slower, and the idea was really to make it as accessible to people as possible. So that's why they developed it using a chat room. So the text could be supported on bandwidth. So there's facilitators from across Canada working in the different cancer centers. And most of it takes place in the chat room, but there is a private messaging system. And when we first started this work, there was a discussion board as well, but that later was removed. So this is what the website looks like today. So back to our early work, we developed 3 different ways of hosting these sessions within the chat room. Asynchronous was on everybody's own time, where people would just post the art directive and their art on the discussion board on their own time. Synchronous, we would do everything in the chat room. So everything was live. I would post an art directive and people would do the art making while we were in the chat room together. And then the last method was asynchronous and synchronous, which is where I would come up with an art directive that would be sent to the patients in this group about a week before we met, and then participants would complete this art project on their own time with their own materials, and then we would meet in the chat room and discuss their art. So we used a lot of traditional tools. Digital photography worked incredibly well. Our favorite exercise to begin with was asking people to introduce themselves using a digital photo that they had taken. It also worked really well to capture images of their art creations that they might have used traditional art material for. So with every exercise that we gave, we generally gave them some options for ways to create. So we offered digital tools, but then we offered them the alternative of using traditional tools as well, and then listing photos. These are some of our favorite online tools that we found. So at this time, we weren't on a quest to create anything, but to see what was in place. And at this time, tablets weren't used and apps weren't used nearly as frequently as they are today. So I did a big scan of all of the different art making programs that were available on the computer. And these were 3 of my favorites. The first was Polyform, which unfortunately no longer exists, but it was a really great source for collage material. The second is Pencil Madness, which is the car on the top there. And that was a great little drawing tool that had a lot of really fun effects. And the last one was Graffiter, where you could pick a wall and then pretend to be a graffiti artist. So this is what our pilot group looked like. You can see the chat room on the left. Yeah, you can see Kate was in there at the time, and Maddie, and Kathy, another art therapist. And we're just discussing the image that's on the right. So that was then, and this is just a look at what these chat rooms, these online groups look like now. So currently they're 8 weeks long, and we have between 5 and 9 group members in them. And these members are patients from across the country, and it's been really neat. There have been a number of times where we've actually had somebody located right on the West Coast and somebody right on the East Coast, and it's been really neat to kind of just hear a little bit more about the weather in each person's place, and just see what a spread this country is and how everybody, yeah, experiences it so differently, but how we can all be connected in a chat room at the same time. So we meet in the chat room for 90 minutes per week, and then, as I mentioned, I'll post an art directive. And then people complete the art directive with whatever materials they have on hand, and then upload those images. And this just kind of shows the value in these chat rooms, or these support groups, I mean, in that patients were driving very long distances to support, or to cancer groups. So this question was, if you had to travel to a cancer support group, how much time would it take to get there? So one person said 180 minutes, 120 minutes, 60 minutes. One person said there were no groups. And this just shows where some of the participants come from. So you can see on the left, they really come from across the country. Most patients are in BC. And the next question was my overall experience in the online support groups. And most people said, 63% said that it was better than what they expected at the time. And I have to say that when I first started this work, I was a little bit not sure about how it would be just communicating over text as well. But I was really surprised to see that it really helped open up people, and a lot of people have said that they've been really able to express themselves in a new way, and some people who were shy naturally have said that they were able to voice themselves a lot better. And nobody said that it was time not well spent. Everybody really enjoyed the experience. And this is just a little screenshot from one of our groups, and this is all used with permission, and all of the patient names are blocked out. But this is from the first exercise, the image that represents who the person is. And this person says, this is my station for the last 2 years, through surgeries, chemo, complications, radiation. And you can see everybody relating in the text. They say it's your cozy spot, and totally relate. It does look like a coziness. So I think this really shows the value in these online groups, being able to provide a service where people can be completely comfortable, and just really neat to see them relating to this common experience of having a place like this in their home. And I'm just going to go through a few examples of the work that we've done in this group, since I'm aware that we're behind time. This is one activity that I lead called Worry Boxes, where I ask people to create a box and then to write down their worries and put them in the box. And so you can see a couple of examples of how people have done this. And it's really neat to see how everybody takes this into their own hands and really creates it very differently. And this is one woman who used it with her partner and talked about how they were able to talk through a lot of their worries by using it together. And this is a participant named Matt, or that's what we'll call him here anyways. And this group is really significant for him because he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer a year before the group started. and was given 1 year to live. So at the time he was starting this group, he was supposed to be dying, but he was finding new life and being able to try watercolor painting for the first time and lots of these different art activities for the first time. So this is his self-portrait as a tree. And this is another self-portrait that he did, which shows his struggles, his load of fear, and his backpack of power. And he was just really grateful for the experience and wanted to express that in his last piece of art. So he calls this a corsage of hugs with everybody. He has this positive statement, which are keep hope alive and believe in you. This is another example from the group. This is a woman that had metastatic breast cancer and was enjoying discovering digital photography. And in the Graffiti program, I asked people to come up with a gang symbol or have some type of tag potentially for what they would be, what their gang would be. And this is hers, and she says that her gang is called the Dragon Warriors. She says, I picture cancer as a dragon. It's mythical, you can't see it, you have to fight it. Dangerous if you don't stay ahead of it. Sometimes you're tired that you just need to pick that sword and use. And this really resonated with a lot of the people in this group, and that became a theme for this group. We called each other the Dragon Warriors. And we gave each other a parting piece of art to share. And this came up in her last piece of art. She says, may your heart be brave when you face your dragon, with the love of family and friends as your shield. May your blade be sharp and your determination steady as your battle cry. You will not be yield. So you can see really just with visuals and text how much emotion is created, how deep participants can really go. And there was really quite a deep connection that was shared. This is another member from the same group. And she decided to, instead of using the Graffiti program, she didn't like it, so she decided to make these really big actual graffiti images, although I think they were just on paper, but with stencils. So the one on the left is the Mona Lisa with a mastectomy, and on the right is her image of what her migraine headaches feel like. And this is her self-portrait as a tree which lost its one of its limbs. So just a few quotes from participants. You can see them saying, what a great environment this is. It's really helped me to be a part of this group and work through my anxieties. And another woman says, I wouldn't have picked up art materials if it hadn't have been for this opportunity. And then at the end, this was our closing session. Someone wrote, I don't have anything really positive in my life except for church, so this group is important. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll miss you all. Me too. And just a few concluding statements. Basically, cancer patients have unique needs, and this is a way that we might be able to use them. But we realize it is low tech, and there are lots of other opportunities for supporting them. And we're open to exploring all of the possibilities. So that's the end of that presentation.